What's up, everyone? The nominations have been revealed, and so has the wildcard winner, and the first person to make it to jury has been revealed. We've got so much to talk about, guys, so welcome to your live feed update. Alright folks, first things first, let's jump right into the wildcard competition. So competing in the wildcard yesterday was Arza, Claire and Whitney, and the winner, ladies and gentlemen, of the wildcard comp is Claire. A huge congratulations to Claire. I was so happy when I saw that. If you guys have been watching my video, you'll know I've got a little bit of a crush on Claire. So I was so stoked for her to see her win that. I did have my money on Claire. I did think she was going to be the person to win it. So happy when I saw that come through. Okay, but here's the plot twist, folks. This is where it gets even better if you're a Claire fan. So what happened was, we don't know the risk, because obviously with the wild card, if you take safety, you get some sort of thing that gets some consequence that gets thrown on the game, whether it be on you or your teammates or the whole house. We don't exactly know what it is yet. It hasn't really been discussed, but what we do know is that Claire did accept the offer, and she took 2 weeks of safety, making Claire the first member to make it, the first house guest to make it to the jury stage of Big Brother 23. So massive congratulations to Claire, guys. Let me know in the comments how you feel about that. I'd love to hear some support for Claire. I'm just stoked to see that she made it to the jury stage. Massive congratulations to her. Christian was leading team meetings where he'd bring in the queens, then he'd bring in the aces and then the jokers, just to sort of chat through his nomination plans, and then he was doing a couple of one-to-ones. It was, listen, I'm trying to be nice, but it was a disaster. The meetings themselves weren't necessarily a disaster, but Christian, as a head of household, has no clue how to assume that role of being the head of household. The head of household doesn't necessarily mean being making a massive move or being totally cutthroat. It just means being able to use that role to your advantage to benefit your game. But it was like these meetings came in, and then Christian kind of just sat there like staring at the wall, or like playing with his hair, whilst everybody else was talking about what they wanted to do. Like, if you were the head of household, you need to be in these conversations and you need to be asking the right questions, just like Carland and Xavier did. They did a brilliant job of it, especially Carland. I'll give him the biggest shout out there. You know, asking questions and getting as much information as possible, that's going to benefit your game going forwards, because guess what? Carland's probably in one of the best positions in the house right now, because he positioned himself fantastically with his head of household reign. Christian, on the other hand, is in a position in which if he didn't win head of household this week, he could have well been going out the door. So it makes even more sense that he needs to get into the HOH shoes and use it to his advantage to make sure that he's not going to be targeted next week, because he can do that if he just puts his mind to it. But instead, he's too busy twiddling with his hair or staring at the wall. Not a good idea, Christian. But anyway, it feels like Alyssa is kind of mollycoddling him and being the brains of this head of household reign, which I didn't expect. So Alyssa is basically taking charge, and I would kind of treat this as Alyssa's HOH reign, because she's saying to Christian, this is what you need to do, and she's telling him what to say in the speech. And it's kind of just like, it's like watching a little kid not know what they have to do, and they have to call on somebody else to do everything for them, but the kid is a 20-odd-year-old man. It's an interesting one to see. So after all this wishy-washy meeting talk of all the teams and everything like that, there was talks that there was 3 names that were going around as the potential nominees the whole time, and Christian was going backwards, forwards on who he wanted to target. He's very easy to persuade, I would say. Very easy to sway. I would say if he had a plan going into this week, if Alyssa wanted the opposite thing, if Alyssa told him to do that, he would do it. That's how confident I am. I think he is, I don't want to use the word simp, but he is, yeah, I would say near enough there. So the 3 names that were going around, Whitney, Hannah and Brittany. Now, of course, Brittany's been on the block 2 weeks in a row, don't we know? And, you know, I think it was about time she got a break from the block. I know a lot of you wouldn't agree with that, but it was about time. So Christian decided to nominate Hannah and Whitney for eviction. So they are on the block, with Whitney as the likely target. However, in the meeting talk, there was times when Christian went, I think Hannah should be the target. Then he went back, oh no, after Hannah persuaded him, you know, anybody who's coming in and swaying him, he was going, no, I think Whitney should be the target now. No, Hannah should. Whitney should. Hannah should. Whitney should. So by the end of this week, who knows who the target is going to be. However, whilst Hannah isn't an official member of the Cookout are supporting Hannah, and they will have the numbers to keep her should the nominees stay the same. However, we all know that Derek X is a king at the veto competition, and he will likely take Hannah off if that happens. Brittany would probably end up going up as the replacement nominee, and anything can happen because, as we said, Christian is somebody who's swayed very easily. So the target might not necessarily stay on Whitney, so it could be a backwards forward situation. Flipping on its tail again, if the cookout decide to make a big move, they could end up taking Hannah out rather than Whitney should the nominees stay the same. It would totally throw a wrench in the works, a monkey wrench in the works, if Whitney won the veto because she is prime target, and then Brittany went up. The decision would then be on Brittany or Hannah, who's the more logical one. Hannah's probably the better player, but at the same time, Brittany has proven time and time again she's probably going to be a bit of a loose cannon if she wins head of household because so many people have put her on the block now. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Brittany win HOH. I think it'd be kind of all over the place and great for an entertaining week. But she's going to want to avenge her game, essentially, of the time she's been on the block. So it really is exciting what's going to happen this week with somebody like Christian in charge who doesn't know how to run the head of household. It usually creates for a very backwards and forwards week, so bring it on. Now, whilst duos are starting to form in this house, it's not even a duo season, we are seeing quite a few duos of couples of people starting to sort of get together. So we saw Claire and Tiffany went to speak to Alyssa and Christian in the HOH room just for extra safety within the Royal Flush. They decided to create a four, and that was instigated by Tiffany, of course, and that is obviously going to benefit them because then they are a core. The core obviously will take care of each other rather than taking care of the larger group. Obviously, the larger group is the goal as a whole to get. No, it rhymes. The goal as a whole to get towards the end, but that's obviously not Tiffany's plan. She's got the cookout plan and the duos slash taking taking out the loose cannons first, which would be Alyssa and Whitney, and then moving forwards and then cutting the rest off just so the cookout members are left. Tiffany's just covering all angles. I am worried she's overplaying. I don't want to speak too soon on that because I think she's playing a fantastic game. But there is obviously that horrible thought in my mind. Well, oh God, she's overplaying. Just calm down, Tiffany. But I think she's just covering herself from all angles. I would say a couple weeks ago, I would have said Tiffany's in prime position and Claire's behind because she's not the person who's in or necessarily making all the moves there. But I feel like because Tiffany might be going into overdrive, Claire is kind of switching into one of the best positions in the house where everybody loves Claire. Everybody thinks Claire's fantastic. And also Claire isn't necessarily someone you go, oh, she's not going to make any moves, because Claire is letting people do the work for her, positioning herself fantastic socially, and she's winning comps as well. And then when the time comes to it, she'll be able to do what she has to do socially, making those moves, and also going to win those comps to ensure her safety. I think Claire is shifting into one of the best positions in the house, and this foursome is definitely going to help those duos, the Christian, Alyssa, Tiffany and Claire, maybe get further. But I don't have a doubt in my mind that Tiffany and Claire will cut Alyssa and Christian if they have to. It's basically just to make sure that they are feeling more comfortable with just more reassurance and more safety behind their back. Now, a little bit of reassurance on Tiffany when I was saying she could be overplaying. She at least knows what she's doing. She talked to the camera and said that she has 15 alliances now. So it's not like she's gone out of control and hasn't realised she's created all these alliances. She's keeping track of it. She's got it on lock, which is brilliant here. Self-awareness is so important in the Big Brother house because otherwise you can be on this track and then all of a sudden you derail and go off the side. So it's good that Tiffany knows what she's sort of, how many pies she's got her finger in. It's a weird phrase, that. How many pies she's got her fingers in, or finger in. Okay, I'm going to stop talking about that now. But she knows what's going on. She's self-aware, and that's really reassuring to hear. But the rest of the evening was pretty much just sort of fun and games. They did like an American Idol sort of thing of people singing and all that sort of stuff. There was one point where Xavier was telling Big D that he plays like Josh. Big D did not take that well. He wasn't happy with that. He was kind of a bit about that. And then Big D went on to call Xavier a lawyer again. That just keeps coming up. I don't think it's going to come as any shock to Big D at the end of the season, because I'm sure on finale night or something, Julie will say, Xavier, have you got anything for us to reveal, or something like that. And then Big D will, I said it all along. But yeah, I mean, I think whilst Big D isn't necessarily playing the best game, and I said this on my Twitter yesterday, I said he's actually super entertaining. I know he's getting a lot of hate, but I think he's a really entertaining guy. He's creating some great one-liners. I sadly cast who we vote, and just some of the stuff he says just on the feeds is hilarious. And to be fair, he's got a good read about Xavier being a lawyer. So, you know, personally, I think I think Derek F is quite a good house guest. Not necessarily gameplay wise, but he's very entertaining. That is all of your live feed updates for today, folks. I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed watching. It's always fun to talk about the live feeds on the day where there's been the wildcard and the nominees, because things go into hyperdrive because you've got to move fast. Of course, you know, 1 second you've got a plan, then somebody wins safety, and then you've got to shift things, and then because Christian's HOH, things going back forwards. It creates for great Big Brother and just amazing things that we get to talk about, guys. So much fun always to talk about stuff on a Saturday about the Friday. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single last one of you. Please let me know your thoughts on everything that's happening in the house in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you're thinking about Claire winning safety for 2 weeks. I would imagine it's only good things because Claire is bloody amazing. I think she's brilliant, and you might know, guys, that I have a crush on her. I might have mentioned it once or twice. And also let me know what you're thinking of Christian as the head of household. Do you think Hannah's going to be the target this week? Do you think Whitney's going to be the target? Who would you like to see be the target this week? The possibilities are endless of what we can talk about, guys, regarding Big Brother. But folks, again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single last one of you. Make sure that you're staying safe, staying positive, and staying healthy out there, and be kind to one another. But in the meantime, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Do all of that stuff. But until your next live feed update, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.